We're super excited today because we're going to be talking to you about national parks in the U.S. There are 63 parks. We've currently been to 25. Wanted to talk to you about some things that we feel are a good advantage and information regarding national parks.
So because we've been to 25 and we have a long way to go, but we've learned a lot over the years, and we thought we would share 5 tips and a couple bonus tips for you guys. Number 1, I would highly recommend downloading the app onto your phone. If you can't do that, go to the website before you visit. This is so important because some parks have special hours. You want to make sure that the location is correct. You'll know the cost up front and the locations of the visitor centers, all the information that you'll need to book tours, but all around just knowing what you need to know before you even start your trip there.
So tip number 2. So as far as costs go going to the national parks, some of the parks like Yellowstone and the Grand Tetons and the bigger parks, they're about $35 per car to go in. But what we found was a good practice. That's this Magical National Parks Annual Pass. You can go onto the website and buy this and have it shipped to you, or you can buy it at almost every national park, and it's $80 for the year. It's best to buy it actually the day you go into the first park, probably.
Yeah. Tip number 3 is going to the visitor center when you first get to the park. Talking to the park rangers there to start your trip. They will have all the information that you need to get where you want to go. Ask, what is the best thing for me to see if I only have a day here? And especially if you're at parks where, say, you want to see wildlife, they'll know where the wildlife is in the park for that time of year.
And they'll make sure to tell you the restrictions and things about getting close to animals, because you don't want to be one of these people. So tip number 4, book your tours in advance. A lot of them will have walking tours that you can go to kind of autonomously, but even some of those, like at Mammoth National Park, you had to book the walking tour, and that one actually sold out first. It was crazy.
If you're in the Everglades and you want to do one of the tram tours, you, especially during peak season, you really need to look a couple days ahead of time. Yeah, so if you are planning your trip out and you want to get the most out of your experience there, get online early, look and see what's available, and lock in your ticket.
Yeah.
Tip number 5, always get a map and use it.
What? Where are we going?
Use your map. Take that map and really utilize it. It lays out your entire visit to the park and will really help you navigate and make the most of your time and your experience while you're there.
It's good to have the person sitting in the passenger seat navigate. So if you have one of those, utilize it.
I do a lot of the driving, but I am also the better navigator. So this might be one of those times where you're going to want to switch positions, have your navigator in the passenger seat to get you where you're going.
All right, so bonus tips that we thought we would add: traveling off peak season and then also off season. And the difference between peak season and off season is peak season is when these parks are super busy during spring break, school's out, vacation, summertime, and then off season they actually close during the season because either snow or inclement weather. For whatever reason, you can schedule those kind of trips when it's not the peak season. You will be so grateful because sometimes those parks get packed.
Busy.
A fun thing that we learned recently, which kind of threw me off a little bit, was that like Smoky Mountains National Park is the most visited park in the U.S.
I had no idea.
We had no idea. A lot of it's because people drive through, but again, during peak season, traffic is going to be a little bit of a nightmare there. So
if you wanted to do like the Cades Cove Bear Drive, it's a one-way loop. There's no getting on and off of it. Like once you're on, you're committed.
Yeah.
And when it's busy, it can take hours. When there's nobody there, you can get through it pretty quick. So another bonus tip, if going to the national parks is important to you, is to get the national parks passport stamp book. Now, we looked into this when we first started going. I totally regret not getting it because once you've been to several, it's really hard to go back. So getting that little book, getting the stamps at all the different locations is just a really cool souvenir. It's inexpensive and it's just a neat way to kind of track where you've been.
In addition to that little passport book and getting that little stamp for your nostalgic purposes, every park has a national park sign. We have always made a point, and I'm sure most people do, stop by that sign if you can, pull off the road, and take a family photo or a personal photo or whatever you do of you and that national park sign. It's just fun to kind of look back and see the places you've been.
All right, so 2 more things, but these really apply to who you're traveling with. If you're traveling with dogs, it is very important to know which parks and what parts of the park are dog friendly. That map will help you with all of that. The national parks are not super dog friendly. Most of them, the dogs are not allowed in the visitor centers, and they're not allowed on most of the trails. So know before you go, have alternate plans for your furry friends, which is always important to us. Now, another traveling companion is children. If you have your kids with you, I highly recommend doing the Junior Ranger program that most of these parks offer. It's a cool little book that you get at the beginning in the visitor center, and it will help them track what they're learning throughout the park, and at the end they'll get a really cool souvenir.
Hello there, I'm Ranger McFriendly.
All right, so hopefully you enjoyed this list of tips and bonus tips.
And if there's anything that we forgot, let us know in the comments. We love visiting the parks, and hopefully we can run into you there.
And if you're new to our channel, if you could like and subscribe, that would be great. Look for more information from us. Thanks again.